against WikiLeaks co-founder Julian Assange. Assange, who denies the charges, has avoided extradition to Sweden for 7 years after seeking refuge at the Ecuadorian embassy in London in 2012. The 47-year-old was evicted last month and sentenced to 50 weeks in jail for breaching his bail conditions. He is currently being held at Belmarsh Prison in London. The inquiry has been revived at the request of the alleged victim's lawyer.
After reviewing the preliminary investigation in its current state, my assessment is that there is still probable cause to suspect that Julian Assange committed rape. Due to these developments and due to the fact that Julian Assange has been deprived of liberty in the UK, the council representing the group party has presented the request to reopen the preliminary investigation concerning rape and to continue the investigation of the case.
The Hollywood star Doris Day, whose films made her one of the biggest female stars of all time, has died aged 97. The singer-turned-actress enjoyed success in such films as Calamity Jane and Pillow Talk, and had a hit in 1956 with Que Sera Sera. Her screen partnership with Rock Hudson was one of the biggest box office draws of the 50s and 60s. Day was married 4 times and had 1 son. She received the Presidential Medal of Freedom in 2004. The Doris Day Animal Foundation confirmed she had died 2 months after turning age 97. Tensions have escalated in the United Arab Emirates after the country claimed 4 of their ships were sabotaged. The UAE issued a statement saying that 4 commercial vessels had been hit, including 2 oil tankers. It confirmed there had been no casualties or spills. The incidents occurred near Fallujah port, one of the world's largest bunkering hubs, near the Strait of Hormuz. The strait is a major global oil and gas shipping route and has lately been the focus of tensions between Iran and the United States. The British Foreign Secretary Jeremy Hunt has warned the US and Iran could end up at war unintentionally. It comes after US Secretary of State Mike Pompeo cancelled the Moscow leg of his trip, here setting off from Washington for discussions with his European counterparts in Brussels instead. There have been months of tensions between the US and Iran after Tehran threatened to increase its uranium enrichment if the better terms under the 2015 nuclear deal were not reached.
We are very worried about the risk of a conflict happening by accident, with an escalation that is unintended really on either side, but ends with some kind of conflict. And so we'll be sharing those concerns with my European counterparts, with Mike Pompeo. And I think what we need is a period of calm to make sure that everyone understands what the other side is thinking.
Demonstrators in central Khartoum are continuing their sit-in outside the Defense Ministry during the Muslim fasting month. The protesters, many who have been there for several weeks now, are being supported by dozens of volunteers. They're locked in a standoff with the country's new military rulers and want the Transitional Military Council to hand over power to civilians. Sudan's deposed President Omar al-Bashir is under arrest after being overthrown by the military last month. A group of islanders off Australia's north coast are filing a human rights complaint to the United Nations against the Australian government over what they claim is inaction on climate change. The complaint by 8 Torres Strait Islanders marks the first climate change litigation brought against Australia based on human rights. They say climate change is threatening their homes and livelihoods. Torres Strait Islanders are part of Australia's indigenous population, along with Aborigines who live on small islands dotted between Australia and Papua New Guinea.
When erosion happens, when the land gets taken away by the sea, it's like a piece of us that gets taken away with it. Piece of our heart, a piece of our body. That's why, it has a effect on us. Not only the island, but us as people.
3 African footballers are sharing this year's Golden Boot, the award for the player who scores the most goals in the Premier League. Gabon's Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang scored 2 for Arsenal away at Burnley, meaning he joins Egypt's Mohamed Salah and his Liverpool teammate Senegal's Sadio Mane, who scored away at Wolves. All 3 players ended the campaign with 22 goals. And that's your international news around the world in 5.